So now we are going to understand about the business analytics. So in this, we will be the part of the analytics industries in almost 10 years. And we are working in the Capgeminis where we solve the business problems using the business analytics. I've seen the complete transformation in the 10 years. I've seen how the movement goes into the business analytics, how the business problems are solved using the business data that is being captured, and how the analytics industry has SAS to Python and in between R, how it has moved to the basic algorithms to the machine algorithms, and how it has a leverage to understand, realize the problems, and ultimately finding the business solutions. And we will be discussing about overview of the business analytics. We will be understanding how the business analytics actually helps in solving the business problems, and what are the business key components, and how these are utilized to further enhance the capabilities of the business decision making and ultimately leading to solutions of the business problems. Before we talk about the business analytics, let's first understand the basic introductions about the business analytics. Knowledge economics is getting about the right information to the decision makers at the right times to achieve the business decisions. So basically, we want to leverage out the knowledge of the decision makers by utilizing the data. Those data is generally collected on a timely intervals in every businesses. So business analytics is the use of the quantitative techniques, statistics, minings to data mine optimizations to make the informed decisions. So those once those data points are collected, they are further cleaned out, used using the several statistical techniques. Those tools can be optimization techniques or the predictive analytics techniques, and further insights are found using those techniques. Business analytics helps in predicting the future by analyzing the historical patterns. So, what exactly this happens? When we are talked about the historical patterns, we will leverage out that there are certain things that are happening on a regular basis. Our statistical algorithms are capable to enough to extract those patterns and trends, and ultimately leading to the solutions. Those data scientists or business analytics professionals use those data and patterns and ultimately give the appropriate answers to the decision makers so they can take the decisions accordingly. And that is the science of the business analytics for the decision making. Actually, what exactly happens is when we are using the business analytics, we are using the data with the sources with the help of various data. So as an example, e-com retailer, and you are trying to apps or websites, they will be finding out the digital footprints. They will be utilizing those data. If you shop, what are the business products you shop? If in case you went to the website and drop out of this cart, but where exactly you dropped, where you went into, and what exactly you saw. So all those things will be solving with the help of the data points which the business data analytics professional use it to find out how we can be able to help it for decision makings. So all this business analytics, so all this data sorts and studies the business statistical problem. All this data is related to the business data. They use the statistical models and the methodologies to transform the data into the business insights. We will be talking about the business and how this data is used in transforming the business problems in solutions and ultimately help into the decision making. The goal is to business analytics is to determine how the data sets are useful and how they can be leveraged. As an example, there are ample of data available on the websites, but when are you enhancing the sales, there will be a key component about how many parts are dropping out of the cart. They are added the values to the cart, but that is not ultimately leading to complete order. If that is happening, that is you are not converting into the leads or the sales. So you are trying out data points that your data points, and you will be ultimately using it to find out the reasons why it is happening. And there are the technical glitches which are leading to the failure of payment and ultimately the frustration from the customer's business problems. And if you try to find out the insights, then so for example, we did the sales of 2 crore, and one of crore of products which are sale in the cart, and that is not being leveraged out. So the customers try to proceed out with the payments, but they are not able to move further. So that is the issues with the proceedings of the payments. And if such instances are put in the front of the management, then identify what are the key reasons. So they will be finding out the reasons and for finding out the glitches. So if those glitches are removed, ultimately those payments will be completely, and that will be giving the sales of 1 crore extra to the final amount. This is what happens in the businesses. They will be helping to finding out the business problems. They will help to understand the business patterns, and the key helps in decision makings for further decisions. All these decisions will be talking about further details, and you'll be discussing about every point in a complete points and the elaborations and the descriptive sense. Further to into the introductions, we will be also discussing about business analytics helps in answering the questions in the critical decision maker. As we have told you that decision making is a key component for the business analytics, and here we'll be finding out the different kinds of questions, like what happened, how it was being happen. That means if the sales are down, we will be trying to understand what the sales are causing to reason out for finding out the sales, and if there are any reasons to find out the sales, if that is being happening with the sales and how you much went down. So for an example, if the sales we were going at a 10 percentage about the rate, and ultimately suddenly the sales has declined minus 2 percentage. So that is happens what exactly in the usual scenarios. So the analyst professionals understanding what exactly is happening, they will be giving the informations, and that our sales are down by the 10 percentage, and we were increasing by the 10 percentage increasing. And so this will be taking out the care by the business professionals as to what exactly is happening, and what date certain takes events takes place. So if our sales are down, by why it is down, why? As I already told you that in the few minutes back, that our sales are certain regions being impacted, or our cart issues, our sales are down because of there are certain who are actually shopping, or there are too much of competitions. So all these things are analyzed by the business professional analytics. We also sales whether such events will be taking place in the future. So if there are technical glitches, if, that can happen in the future also. So when we analyze how many sales are outcomes are taking place, so if that is what exactly is happening, we will try to find out how to remove these roadblocks and ultimately saving the sales. What will happen in the used to do? As an example, let's suppose every week we sell a particular brand of the brand, and it is a top selling brand, and we will be utilizing it more brands like this, and we will be finding out with the sales decreases, whether it will be leading to ultimately loss or the ultimately into the business profits. All the sales are analyzed in a various manners, so that you try to help out the business in decisions makings, whether that introduction is the new idea or the bad idea. So all those things will be happening in the business analytics. Will also help you to understand what our change practices will work actually. So the change is necessary in everything, and when we try to introduce any change, so our ultimate objective is to change should improvise the business problems and not to deflate the businesses. And that's what the business objective is. So if we are doing certain analytics is happening to decision makings, so these activities will lead to certain 2 percentage of the additional sales. So if such things are happened, and it will be easy for the decision makers to make the decision makers to ultimately find out change out in the business organizations. There are certain set of questions that will be helping to business outcomes. Ultimately, when we are using the business analytics, let's say there are certain questions, there should be appropriate answers to this, and all these things happens using the various things. As an example, when we are trying to question or we are analyze something, we will try to understand about the business analytics and the consumer behavior. As an example, when we say that the most of the customers are 25 to 35 percentage of the sales, we are making that consumers, or our consumers is between the 25 to 35. And when we're trying to explain, you will see that this behavior is changing or not. So for example, we introduce something for the younger populations which is less than 25 years of age, and whether the consumer makes this happening or not, we need to analyze. So if our 25 to 35 percentage of age people contributing to 40 percentage of the sales, and less than 25 people are contributing to only the 50 percentage of the sales. Then if we are introducing something, mm, if that is mix changing, or have the more sales now less than 25 years of age. So if that is the case, we had a new insights into the business places, and we can explain those things to the business makers. We try to analyze the business analytics into the improve the predictive analytics. So when we talk about the businesses, we need to identify what will be happening in the future. We will need to set predict certain events. So for an example, when we do the predictivity, we will be understanding what will be happening in the future. So for an example, if our sales, we are trying to improving the day by day and growing every week, and there is a cyclical business patterns that every 3 weeks our sales goes down by 2%, and it will be continuously moving up, and after every 3 weeks so it has been going down. So after 3 weeks it will be going down and then will be moving up. So if we moving down, or how it will it move up, that gives you the extra power. Additionally, we can also have predictability using the business analytics and predictability and finding out improved various business matches. So for example, if we make the e-com measures to introduce the sales, like the billions of the sales or something like that, in those sales, we will ultimately objective is to how much the consumers will be shopping for the business brands. So if we are trying to sales in a retail, the objective will be to maximize the comes to come and shop. We will have the predictability or the power, what percentage of the consumers behaviors will become and shop during the particular period. So if we are trying to appropriate appropriately, we will helping to target in more appropriate manner. So if there are certain few sets of the people who are definitely going to come and solve, and we don't need to do anything, so we need to communicate them that we are starting with a certain spirit. So this spirit to this spirit, they will be already noticing the spirit and they will be already following those dates. So if there are certain sets of people who have a comparability less sales probability, but still they can show, they will need to bring the push, who need to make the push, they will be need to make the communicative sales that we are making the sales, that we are making the sales desperate. If such things can happen, we can help the decision makers to finding out the business targets and ultimately the pushing with the right target. And ultimately saving the cost, and with the help of the predictability we will be understanding who can come and who will not come at any cost. At any sales, we will be identifying the business analytics in the certain places where the business analytics will be playing the major role when we are trying to identifying the risk, whether the certain comes or huge cost to the businesses or not. As an example, we want to predict certain persons will repay the loan or not. So when we are trying to repay important medium for earnings and important medium for drawing huge revenues. So if we try to loans to as many people as it is possible, so it is also important that those returns to those return the loan along with the interest. So when they will be drawing those money, so these people are giving, then it will be giving us the huge profit. So if they are giving the huge to everybody, those people who are not going to repay the loans, if such things are happening, it will be lead to the huge loss because they will be not giving the money back. And such risks are important to identify. And if in case, we will be predictability business models using the business analytics to identify the consumers behaviors, to identify the branch, we will be able to use predict those risks. This is also entertained in the business analytics. The other objectives are to improve the effectiveness of the business communications. If these things are led off the push, and this people are the probability so making the sales, then ultimately they need a push. So if in case we had a 10 lakhs consumers, and if we communicate use the cost, so if communication to the single persons 1 rupee, we will be spending it to 10 lakh rupees to the 10 lakh consumers. And if we know with this case there are 2 lakhs consumers and there are host people, which little need of push, and we will be communicating those lakhs to the only 2 lakhs, and ultimately using this predictability we will be able to solve 8 lakh rupees, and they were only spending the 2 lakhs rupees, and they will be giving the huge businesses, and then that most sales comes from the 20 percentage of the, and it is the 80 20 percentage of the rule, where 80 percentage will be coming from the 20 consumers of the product. So if we utilize these 20 consumers, we will also help in saving the communication cost and ultimately giving the same money. It also helps in enhances the operational efficiencies. As an example, if we are able to analyze that these are the areas where most of the areas are coming, and our whole country is divided into the four zones: north, south, east and west. And if it's the east is the zone, is the area where less sales comes in, and or comes into the picture, where more sales comes from, we need more operational efficiency that comes into the business areas. And we make into the plan for those predictability. We need to deploy in east, and we will be able to sell our money, and leading to increase in the business revenue, and there will be appropriately workforce into the western areas. So that is happening in the business analytics, so that helps and analyze those things. With all these things into the comes into the question, uh, do we need to have the business analytics? Do we need business analytics the professionals, and they are ultimately key decisions and helping them? We will be understanding new questions. Basically this comes from who are experienced business professionals, that analytics, they will know the business better, and what is needed need of the business is need, and why it is needed, that every organization is needing this. And if they are looking at key decision makers, and they understand the business better, and that something can be changed, and the experience is not being noticed, and certain change, those things has to be highlighted, and when the business analytics comes into the picture. So the digital revolution has enabled business aspects to the business aspects. So if the business analytics is driven by the business data, and with all this the business revolution has taken to the business into this, we need the data organization, the business components, we need the components are everywhere. As an example, when we do it Google terms in it, but Google is such a town that this person is looking at these things, and now they know that this number of people who are looking for these things, they will be looking out appropriate business target, and ultimately they will be targeting that this person is looking for particular product, and ultimately retail change and buy some products. Then you will be identifying, do not be giving the money and coming out of the zoo. You will be just generating the bill. Will component of the bill will be attribute or the bill that you will be burning out. So at what time you will be shopping, and what kind of details. It will also contain the quantity of the details you spent and the quantity of the amount you spent. So all this data will be collected, and you will be analyzing into the business analytics and the business behavior. That will be amount in the business products before amount, the contact details, how the quantity will be using those discounts or not, and all these details are collected or not. So data is the big part right now. So everybody is using the data. You will be moving to place A to the place B, and you will be moving all this data, all this usage, huge of the pool of data. But flow data without sensors is considered as useless. Many as you have the large amount of data, and you can look into the business data and find out the patterns, and ultimately it will be as waste as nothing. You will not be utilizing the power of data. That is why the business analytics comes into the pictures. Organization needs to use the business analytics tools for available data and communicate the results to the decision maker in a simplified way. So, as an example, giving a simple example, we are conducting everybody data from where we are shopping. When the used data is the e-commerce, the targeting the customers, you're doing a lot of things. You will be doing a lot of things, 5 products and one product out of the 5, and you did the sales, and then you applied the coupon and you got the discount, and you added it to the cart, and then you proceeded to the payments, and your order is complete. During this journey, oh, we have seen 5 products. We have shortlisted one of the product out of that, and you coupon and you made a payment. If in this case is not available out, it will be as waste as anything else. If nobody is understanding your behavior, your data is be getting wasted, and you will not be leveraging out the data, what are the footprints. So if in case you want to leverage into the data, into the, this is what the consumer is happening into the picture. As most of the data you will be belonging to this category. There will be the kids category, or the kids category are you wanted data to one of the products, and they realized that out of the 5 products you saw, you saw the business products and you shortlisted one of the products. So it is the key necessity area. Then you apply the discount that you went for, the discounts that you want to see, discount seeker. And you will be for the discounts, then you will be giving the shop more and shortlisted one of the product, and you made the payment. So this key product is necessity right now. And so if the data analytics is in, and there are n number of people who are doing these journeys, who are interested in the kids product, out of those n people, there are x people who are buying this particular kind of the brands. So they're the first kids market, and kids, the business analytics will be telling these people are interested into the kids product, and if this give them the discount, then you ultimately come into the sales, and you will be having the incremental sales. This is not the usual behavior. Incremental behavior and usual behavior. If we shop for the 5,000s every year, and that is the usual behavior. So again, if we are doing something like this, so get that 5,000, and ultimately my efforts will be not utilized, and I'm getting that 5,000 out of you. So if I did something which made shop for 500 rupees more, so now you're getting for 5,500 rupees. So that 5,000 is the behavior, and now that 500 behavior is the incremental businesses. We did something and we got the incremental businesses of 500 rupees is using the things that we analyze, and the things that we analyze to target you. That is what a business analytics do. So when you have a huge amount of data, there are comes into the further needs into the business professionals, and who business analytics comes into, and you comes into the business analytics. So business analytics tools are usually, or typical organizations are typical of the components. They will be doing components several things. As a business analytics professionals, your key area will be to analyze the data from the multiple sources first. What exactly is the analyzing the business data from multiple sources? So for example, if we are having the businesses, if in store as well as in online, let's take the example of the major retailer like the DMart. So DMart is the major retailer like the online as well as the online offline. So their primary business is offline via the stores, and they have the online sales, the businesses wherein they deliver the consumers online. Now the sources are different sources. You store, when you will be storing out, will be bearing the deal that you contain the information, the amount is spent and everything, and you will be capturing in such a way that it will be ultimately they have the digital footprints medium as well. You go to their website, you book a product, they will be delivering that product, and ultimately It is a complete source wherein you have the digital footprints, and your addresses are available, and your cards are available, and everything is available. So if certain products are available, so if you are not shopped it, they will be information available to by demand using the online channel behavior. There are two channels behavior. When you will be analyzing this data, this consumers buys the product A, that is product buy from the online chain. They will be buying the product basic necessities from the online channels, and less frequent channels from the store channels, and such things can happen, and you can need to leverage out this data when you are analyzing those two channels, and online channels and offline channels. The sources are different. They need to bring it to the same front. You will be utilizing the front to further analyze the behavior of the business patterns. Buys this many products. Out of this many products, this percentage comes from online and this comes from the offline. And you will be interested in more into the X kind of the products, into the Y kind of the products, into the offline. So all these things will be coming into the various sources, and you will be utilizing those data from the and giving one answer. You will be also using the advanced analytics to find out the business hidden patterns. Without the analytics or without the statistical methods, it is very extremely difficult to understand the extreme behavior. So data is like the notary child. It doesn't behavior like as you expect it. When you say the data from the business analytics, you will be able to find out the business patterns. The consumer is coming from the milk from every 2 days. The consumer is coming for normal groceries every week. Consumer is coming for furniture items every month. The common consumer is apparels every 6 months. These are the patterns you need to identify. If the 6 months takes to buy an apparel, and if it is buy an apparel, and now it is the 5 months, now you should be in the 1 month for you should be forced to the apparel. So you can move to the different channels, a different competitor. This helps in understanding the business patterns, and your statistical patterns will ultimately finding and find of the customers. Your product will also be disseminate this information to attract this dashboards. So when you disseminate the relevant what exactly is happening into the dashboards, you need to identify good as informations to the business stakeholders. When you are giving those information to the business stakeholders, they will not be easy to understand the business patterns using the different numbers. So you need to give the story to these consumers too. We have 4 regions. Out of these 4 regions, west region is giving for 40% of the sales. Its historical diagram is high, its peak is high. You need to draw the charts. You need to show this information in a way that it will be easier to consumers to business stakeholders, and these consumers are easily to available, and you will be helping them the quick in the decision making. So if we are getting the 23 percentage 33 percentage from this, are we our APV is down, our everyone is buying for product A, and people are spending on the people A product A and this many amounts, and you say that for every consumer he's spending 2300 in a single businesses. People business doesn't know about everything on this. Business needs to know what exactly is going. If that 2300 is good or bad, can we take the decisions out of it? So if we say every consumer is taking out of this 2300 into single transactions, and it is the 500 more than the usual trends, it will be spending 1800 rupees, and so per transaction has improved. Our consumer has improved, number of transaction has improved, and in our ultimately they were buying the 2 products, now they were products into 5 products. So ultimately if we do the push, then we'll be add one more category for the transactions, and if that happens, then that 2300 will be improved by 50 rupees and x amount of sales. We also need to disseminate the information to the relevant information to the key stakeholders and effective dashboards. And very important, as we were telling you, when we have the interactive dashboards, is we can plug in and plug it. They need to change the patterns. They need to find out the statistics. They need to see the sales instead of the number of shoppings. They can play these informations and can play with the products into the charts and find out the results. These interactive dashboards are results helping interactive in making the decisions making faster. You need to monitor the KPIs and also react to the changing in the business trends. Before that, we need to meaning of the KPIs. The full form of the KPIs, key performance indicators. So when we say about the key performance indicators, we need to key areas that is extremely important with respect to the business. So when we are talking about the retailers, we will see how every consumers in the single transactions shops for 2300 rupees. That becomes one single KPI. The 2300 is the every transactions and that APV for every consumers. And every consumer shops for with us in the 3 months. So the fee frequency is 3 months. So that is the KPI. So businesses tries to improve these KPIs with this. So if our APV is 2300 rupees and our ultimate objective should be 2500. So if our consumer's pattern is after 3 or he's shopping in the 3 months, then let's take it further and take it to buy to push the product in every 2 months. So from 3 to 2. These are the key KPIs that the consumers and the businesses takes into the place, and every KPIs will be different from industry to industry and consumer to consumer for measuring the business performance. So in the last example, so average transaction was 2300, and this week our transaction value is 2200. So my key KPI has started falling down. My average transactions has moved down by 100 rupees, and you do need to do something so that I can save it, so I can transactions value, I can push the consumers to buy. If our consumer is making buy, if we are making for 500 extra, and ultimately we can utilize these tools to further improve the business performances. We also need to justify and revise the decision based on the up-to-date information. So if the information is collectively and available into the systems, interactive dashboards and information is KPIs and the keys are changing, and CSF is changing, and you can take the quick decisions and revise the decisions. So if you are trying to APV, so pushing out and consumers for buy 2000 rupees, give them the discounts for 5000 rupees for extra, and you will be giving the discount of the ultimately of the savings average transactions value to 2400 rupees. But we can take these decisions and we can see that our APV has fallen down into the place and our frequencies is going down. People are shopping less. Early they were shopping in the 3 months and they are moved to the 4 months. So we can quickly understand these patterns and using the business dashboards and ultimately creating the key decisions. If the consumers are not shopping the businesses, let's push them, let's give them offer, let's give them something big that they can buy and come and buy and shop. So this is the objective of the business analytics, using the dashboards, using the statistical techniques, using the data patterns we have, using the taking the data consolidations, the data, and making the corrective decisions. Making the business analytics is all about.